argument. If the positive statement, he that believes and is baptized shall be saved, means that I exclude infant from baptism, then that means I have to follow it to the end of the sentence and exclude infant from the possibility of salvation. So what do you do with all the infants that die in infancy? Are they automatically lost because they have the inability to believe? The majority of our evangelical Baptist friends say no, and they invent this whole thing called, well, you're innocent till you get to the age of accountability. Right?
Do you hold the baptism as a requirement for salvation? That's what I just almost heard you say.
No, not in the sense that if I'm in a situation to where, it's an impossibility for me to be baptized. I'm, in an extreme situation like Richard Wurmbrand in Romania prison. I don't have a bottle of water anywhere around. I have no waters at all. I have nothing. And I've got a guy laying beside me. I've got tuberculosis. He's over here dying of tuberculosis. He's I'm trying to recall a story. He's I think there was one point where a Jehovah's Witness had come in, or this is an atheist. He's been raised atheist under communism. And he's laying there, and he's never known God. He's never believed God exists. He's laying there, and I think Richard Wurmbrand ended up spending 6 months, I think, in this, or maybe more than that, maybe a year or so in this ward. And he's the only one of all of them in there that pretty much left there alive, and he should have died. So all these people, all these men around him were dying. Well, obviously there's no opportunity for Pastor Richard Wurmbrand to perform a baptism. So no, in that sense, no. But in normal life, it's an ordinance / sacrament, whatever you want to call it, rite, R-I-T-E, instituted by Jesus Christ himself, that says something publicly about me or my child that is not primarily me speaking. See, that gets to another issue. The other issue tied with the Baptistic perspective is that baptism is essentially what I'm saying about myself publicly. I would submit to you that is not the primary purpose of baptism at all. Now, that I wouldn't say that that's not an element, but I say baptism is Jesus Christ himself through the church speaking about me and calling me by name. And that's ultimately, to me, that was the clincher for me. When I realized that baptism was God calling me by name, then it takes on a completely different significance.
Never heard that.